replacement for Triple H when he retired.
Oh,
Welcome into Coach and Bro, presented by Afterburn, in theaters, September 19th.
Oh, and just like that, we continue on our 2 hours of domination on Stadium Bally Sports Live. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit that like button on the way in. It really helps us grow. We'd appreciate it if you became a premium member as well on this side, because this Saturday night, that's right, we're going to do a live watch along. Me, Big Tommy C, Raphael, maybe do a little betting in the process of WrestlePalooza, but it's going to be premium members only. So we want you to participate there as well. Over the course of the next hour, it's all things pro wrestling. And on this show, we don't talk about segment by segment on Raw and SmackDown. We talk about the bigger issues, the bigger topics, because we spend a lot of time inside of the WWE. But I'm only the coach side of this. The bro side, let's bring him in right now. My guy. I love Thursdays mornings live here on Stadium and Bally Sports Live. Look, did you get a haircut?
No, you're catching me early in the morning, so my hair is well groomed. By the time we get to the afternoon, it's all over the place. It's early in the morning. You got me.
I always said that my hair, I've been shaving my head since 2002.
Wow.
And there were a couple of times where I tried to grow it out, or I just forgot to shave it, because it grows out in like a day or two. So I got to shave it almost every day. And I remember my greatest segment, Vince, was The Rock and Eugene in San Diego, California. I remember I used to wear the Kango hats with the sunglasses and all that. So as I'm getting ready to go out, and Rock was like hidden away in a room, nobody knew he was there. And Vince looks at me and he goes, "Take your hat off. This is serious." And I go, "Vince, I didn't shave my head. It was like a chia pet. You know how a chia pet kind of And so when I watch it back, that's all I think about is my hair. It stopped growing on top. When you wear a hat all the time, it stops growing. Yeah. Oh my God. I can hardly watch it back because I'm so in my own head about it. Nobody else cares.
Yeah.
Nobody else cares.
Yeah.
Brother, we got a lot to talk about today.
Let's do it, man.
We have a lot to talk about today. Now, obviously, this is a big week for both companies, AEW and WWE. But WWE has dominated the headlines because of the new deal with ESPN, $325 million a year for essentially 12 to 13 or 14 shows. So this has got to hit. And yesterday they did a call, Vince, and all of the confusion that you and I have been talking about, well, it has reached the ivory towers at ESPN and WWE, and they admitted that for most people, they don't have deals in place with the cable system that you have. And so most people will have to pay separately. And I'm trying to remember who said that on day one here on the show. Who said that?
Yeah, Coach, I believe that would be you, my friend.
I believe it was me. There's no universe they're going to allow somebody paying $7 a month in a cable system to get it for free long-term. $30 is a big difference. So, Vince, does this surprise you that 2 days ahead of time, they need a big number from wrestling fans to step up, maybe last minute on Saturday?
Yeah, Coach, it surprises me because we're talking about two huge companies, two huge conglomerates. We're talking about ESPN and the WWE coming together. And my gosh, I'm just feeling like there was a lack of planning or preparation, which surprises the crap out of me when you talk about just two global powers, in television. It just seems to me like this wasn't planned very well, because they also moved up some of the dates too, Coach. So let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe that's why, because this wasn't supposed to happen till next year.
Yeah, that's exactly right. For those people who are new to the show, I'm the only person, not to pat myself on the back, but to give you clarity and credibility. I worked at both places for over a decade. I'm the only person ever, history of time. And knowing both places, Vince, it's a little surprising from the ESPN point of view, because right now WWE is collecting checks, and they're collecting checks from a lot of people. And I think they may have collected one too many checks, because now there's a lot of upset wrestling fans. And when you have upset wrestling fans at the same time as you're asking them to pay $30 a month, those two things don't go hand in hand. What are we talking about? Well, earlier this week, they announced that Wrestlemania will be going to Saudi Arabia. I saw a poll, Vince, 96% of fans not happy about it.
Yep.
Not happy about it. So then yesterday, Nick Khan announced that in 2026, there will be a PLE taking place in Italy. So it's very evident to me that the future of their business is taking their shows around the world. And if you're ESPN, which is not around the world like Netflix is, they can't be too happy about all of these announcements instead of focusing on WrestlePalooza and getting this app launched.
Well, yeah, Coach, I also understand. I think Nick Khan also mentioned in that press conference that half of the PLEs are now overseas.
Wow.
That is a wow. I mean, think about that. That really is a wow. But I have to tell you, Coach, this situation is presenting Tony Khan and AEW with a great opportunity. And I have to believe Tony Khan is all over it. I have to believe Tony Khan, AEW, is going to run a huge event against that WrestleMania here in the States. If I was Khan, I would put it in a stadium. I would include other promotions. Hell, Coach, I may let people in free of charge. Throw it on television. This is an opportunity of a lifetime for AEW, and I have to believe Tony's all over it.
The hole that WWE has left is this big and bigger.
Yes.
And this is really where Tony Khan needs to have some really smart TV people around him. This isn't about writing a good wrestling show.
Right.
This is about positioning your entire brand and then worrying about writing a good wrestling show. But 18 months seems like a long time. That's going to go by like that.
Right.
And you know who I would call to run the fan festival side of it? I'd call Conrad. I'd be like, hey, Conrad, you do it. Bring your podcast. We'll bring our Sirius XM shows. We'll bring Coach and Bro. We'll bring The Last Word, whatever it is. But there's always going to be a pro and a con, a teeter and a totter. And when you take your show because you're getting a big check outside of the United States, now, Vince, that becomes a noon start time here in the States, which I despise. That 2 or 3 hour preview show, and then you're starting the show at 3 o'clock. And to me, you talk about planning. I don't know how much when they're sitting in these rooms that Nick Khan and them are, he's smart and he gets the money. But Vince, there's a lot of things here that to me are red flags that you're moving away from your core fan base that really wants to support you.
Yeah, you know, Coach, I was just talking about this with Al Snow, and listen, we're talking about this tradition of wrestling. You watched with your father or you watched with your grandfather, so you want to bring your kids, you want to bring your grandchildren. I remember, here's a perfect example, Coach. I bought my first Kiss album at 16 in 1977. I'm a loyal member of the Kiss family. Well, in 1999, they put the makeup back on and had a big reunion tour. So, of course, I wanted to take my kids. I wanted my kids to experience Kiss. Here's the only difference, Coach. I was able to buy a ticket. They didn't price me out of the event. So seriously, that is what's happening. You're having a lot of wrestling fans maybe watch with fathers, grandfathers. Now they want to pass it along to those kids, and it's not affordable towards them. And that isn't, I promise you, that isn't happening with one or two people. It is happening with a generation of wrestling fans. Coach, I don't know if the WWE is taking that into account at all.
I don't think they are. And I hate I hate using the word hate. I'm surprised that so many people, whether it's WWE or shows like this, and say, "Oh, we know it's all about the money," or "Oh, they don't care about the." I'm tired of the easy answer. I want shows like ours that actually discuss why this is such a big issue. That why we can't talk about Brock Lesnar and John Cena, but we have to talk about this because Vince. Mark Shapiro, who came out last week, yet again, said we're going to increase prices. Well, guess what, Vince? There's still over 1,000 tickets left for Saturday in Indianapolis when you've got the best card you could possibly put together right now with the stars that they have. Not sold out. Over 1,200 tickets as of last night still available. If you want to sit in the third or fourth row, it's going to cost you $2,000 for one ticket. $8,000 48 hours before the show. You want to talk about what is going on? It's as simple as looking at that.
Yeah. And that's the approach that Tony Khan has to take. We are now the Wrestling Federation for the people, for the family. You want to bring your son, you want to bring the whole family out. This is the place to come. This man, he's got to throw this into gear. He's got to get the marketing going because this, Coach, I don't think he's going to have another opportunity like this.
No. And he can start in January because Royal Rumble is over there. And on top of the Royal Rumble being over there, they announced, I think, Vince, 6 or 7 live events leading up to it. So the superstars will be over there for most of the month of March, which means there will not be shows here in the United States. Now, I will say that as businesses evolve, NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, all 3 of those are playing games in other countries because they understand for a long time they've ignored the money that can come in from other countries. And I get completely that. But you can't have WrestleMania in 2 places. Yeah. And right now, when you have such a negative, everything I read on my timeline, I'm sure yours too, is negative. And now it's almost like people are treating us, me and you, as the ticket whisperers because they understand that we talk about the business of wrestling. And I think in those meetings, because, man, wouldn't you love to see the cameras on Unreal be in those meetings with Nick Khan and him negotiating with Saudi Arabia? I could have done that, Vince. Yeah. Walk in, give me $500 million, we're good. Yeah. And I think that's the extent of it.
Yeah. Well, Coach, the interesting thing is I was reading today and I was hearing today that, and listen, here's where I give the Saudis credit. The WWE was trying to sell them like a second WrestleMania, like almost like a fallout from WrestleMania. They were trying to sell them that so they could keep WrestleMania here, and the Saudis were like, no, $250 million. We ain't getting no fallout from WrestleMania. We're getting so the WWE kind of knew man, this is kind of like moving the Super Bowl. And they did try to do the old swerve-a-roni, but the Saudis said, no, there's one WrestleMania. Here's $250 million. We're getting that WrestleMania.
Do you think that's the number? I thought it would be more than that.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm reading. I mean, there's no way of us really knowing, but I've read that in several places.
That's still a lot of money for one show. It's a lot of money for one. Yeah. I mean, to put it in perspective, ESPN is paying WWE for the whole year $320,000.
That's I was thinking that when you said that number for the whole year. Yes.
Whole year. 12 shows, 13 shows. Right now, Netflix looks like they're getting a bargain. They're paying $500 million per year, but yet they get 52 Raws, and then they get SmackDown outside of the United States. So essentially, they're getting over 100 shows. for $500 million as opposed to ESPN, which is why ESPN is going to be so adamant. And they're doing their best. They're doing their best. They're throwing wrestlers on campus. Usos were signing autographs and taking pictures. Braun Breaker was on Get Up with Greeny. It was kind of funny to hear Chris Fowler on Monday Night Football. He was reading the coming up, John Cena and Brock Lesnar. And I'm like, oh, and then he said it again. Then he said it again.
Every time those football guys got to do a wrestling ad, it sounds like they hate it.
Oh, they do. All right, what are we doing? Why are they bringing it? That's how I was treated for the first 2 years I was there, just like the promos. All right, we got to take our first break. Coming up on the other side, is there going to be more events going overseas? And also, we're going to play a little game of pet peeve, and we want you to participate in the chat. What is your biggest pet peeve in wrestling right now? We're just getting started. It's Coach and Bro on Stadium and Bally Sports Live. Let's go. All right, we continue on here on our YouTube page, and I believe we have one super sticker to get to. And by the way, we'll do super stickers during the break, but also at the end of the show with any that we have. Remember, we still have the Wheel of Doom to get to today as well. All right, love them or hate them, WWE is a core part of American culture. Giving Wrestlemania to Saudi Arabia feels like a huge loss, and I fear they'll eventually own the company down the line as well. Tragic. This is a lot of people, Vince, that feel this way.
Yeah, but they're still going to go to events. They're still going to go to shows. They're still going to watch. So the WWE is still going to continue to do what they're doing.
See, I hope that in a year or two, you are not allowed to say that anymore. I hope in a year or two that they've spoken enough, just like I hope the talent at some point stands up. When you make billions and none of your head people say, man, we're going to take care of the talent. We're going to take care of the talent. It's going to all roll downhill. Dana White didn't say it for the Paramount deal. I haven't heard Triple H and Nick Khan say it.
Yep.
And oh, by the way, when they were taking that picture at the press conference, Triple H didn't even thank them. Didn't even say, because of this talent behind me, this is how we're able to do these deals. He said, thanks to Nick Khan, we got this deal done. I think there's starting to be a lot of resentment from talent towards the company. Yeah. It feels like that to me. Does it feel like that to you?
Yeah, it should, because my gosh, if you're an employee of the WWE and you're looking at the money that's coming in, I mean, we're talking about, Coach, a ridiculous amount of money. And my gosh, the talent does deserve to be getting a piece of that. We're talking about billions of dollars, Coach.
Every other sports organization has a revenue share model.
Yes.
And obviously they have their unions too, but it's like 52-48. Think about that. If wrestlers shared in that, oh my God, everybody on the main roster would be making over $1 million. Easy. There'd be a minimum salary, just like the NFL's like $750. Every player makes at least $750.
Yeah.
All right. Keep those super stickers coming in. We're just getting started. We are back on Stadium, Bally Sports Live in 5 seconds. Okay, welcome back, everybody. The Coach and Bro Show. We're here every single Thursday morning from 11 a.m. Eastern Time to noon. I am the coach, my partner, of course, from russosbrand.com, Vince Russo. So, Vince, as we compare the two companies coming up on Saturday, AEW has All Out in Toronto. It's kind of the full circle moment for two guys that I traveled with, Edge and Christian, and they have moved it to the afternoon. But essentially, Vince, these are two pay-per-views. AEW is a pay-per-view model, $39.99, and then you've got WrestlePalooza, which is essentially a $30 pay-per-view. Which company do you think has done a better job of getting the wrestling fan to try to be positive first and foremost, but also say, you know what? I'll pay that $40 on Saturday afternoon or $30 Saturday night.
God, I would have to say, and again, it's not the work they put in. I would have to say the WWE, because we're talking Lesnar and Cena. I mean, that's what nothing is going to trump that. I mean, odds are you're never going to see this again. Cena's only got a couple of dates left. So, again, if I'm going to spend $30 on one of these companies, that's where I'm spending my $30.
Those two names are the biggest reason why, if I'm sitting in these offices, Vince, and we're going to pound this until they listen to all of it, because we're fans too. We're just like the people in the chat. We're fans too. And when you have that as a main event, and you've got Cody and Drew, and then you've got what I feel like is a hot storyline with CM Punk and AJ Lee and Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins, to me, this should have been a sellout like that.
Yeah.
And either you have your blinders on or you admit what's really going on. And this is an incredibly important time for the company, but also for AEW. I watched AEW on Wednesday night. I think that they're leaning in. I believe this. I believe they watch you, because they're starting to have layers under their storylines. They're starting to do a lot of the things that we talk about here on the show. And if they can do that and bring in smart people like yourself, they can turn this thing around like that. Because the one thing they do well is pay-per-views, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Listen, they've got to play the hand that they're being dealt, and I think they're being dealt pretty good cards right now. Mm-hmm. If I'm Tony Khan and I'm looking at my hand, I'm very excited about it. And I got to tell you, man, I got confident. I do believe that it's already in the works, that they're already starting to counter program. Like you said, Coach, we got a big heads up. We got a lot of time, but it's going to go quickly. There's no doubt in my mind that they're not going to capitalize. But I hope Tony understands, brother, get out of your box. You know, there are people that you may not agree with when it comes to wrestling philosophy that can help you. Go outside of your box. Whoever can help you, bring them aboard.
Why is it so hard in the wrestling business? Because you and I have been around it for, I started in 99. You were way before that. Why is it so hard for people who are in charge of wrestling companies, as opposed to NFL owners or the NFL commissioner or the PGA Tour commissioner? Why is it so hard for them to admit or to step aside and say, yeah, let's bring these 2 or 3 minds into the game to help push our company forward? Why is it so hard?
Coach, I don't know, because the reality is, if I was like everybody else, Ed Ferrara would have never been hired by the WWE. What happened was Vince's it was just me and Vince. And we were becoming so popular, Vince couldn't give me the time creatively anymore. And he said, Vince, you need somebody. So Ed Ferrara was recommended by Bonnie Hammer of the USA Network, because Ed was a wrestling fan. He wrote Honey, Can I Shrunk the Kids, Weird Science. He worked on TV. So I was looking at Ed Ferrara like, do you know how much this guy can teach me about television writing and characters and formatting? That's what I was looking at. So when they brought him in for a test run and I saw that we got together personally, I was like, oh my God, the knowledge this guy could pass along. I don't know why people think the other way, like, this person's a threat. I don't want them to get any power, because that's the whole idea. You want the best people possible. But, Coach, you got to have confidence in yourself first that nobody's going to take your spot.
The one thing that I'm learning as I run BTT Studios and this show and our other shows and everything that I'm involved, I've never been busier. But Vince, I've never been happier, because I'm working with people that I want to work with.
Right.
I love working with you. There's nothing I look forward to more than doing this twice a week with you. It's not because we get along so well. We do. But it's because you challenge me. You make me think in a business that I absolutely love. And then I love sports as well. The one thing I'm learning, that to be successful, you've got to almost step out of the way sometimes and say, maybe I don't know everything. And I don't know if Tony Khan's ever done that, because when you have the most money and you have the checkbook, then everybody's going to kowtow to you all the time, because they want what's in it.
Yes.
A lot.
And that's what happens in professional wrestling. Everybody is trying to cross into each other's lanes, because that means more power. The more I do, the more you could add on to my title, the more power. But they might not be qualified for those roles. That's the problem. That's why the Attitude Era was so successful. And Coach, you were there.
Yep.
JR was talent relations. I did not step in that lane. Kevin Dunn was TV production. He did not step in my lane. We all stayed in our lanes and did what we did best. And that was a huge part of his success.
Man, my first 5 years were so much fun. And what you're talking about is kind of the reason being they handed me a lot of responsibility when I first walked in the door. Michael Cole, who, by the way, he's missed some shows recently. I don't know what's going on. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I did notice that. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw your boys over at Sports Kita put out a spot, not knowing because in 28 years, I think he's missed less than 5 shows.
Yeah.
In 28, when I walked in the door, I'll never forget it. He had like a big file, and there were probably 8 to 12 shows a week that we would do internationally, live wire on USA, all of those. I remember walking in the first day, he just handed me the files. He's just like, these are all yours. I'm doing no more of this. And he was just the voice of SmackDown. And that's all he did.
Yeah.
And then he handed me the power to do all the home videos, the interviews from like Entertainment Tonight or Access Hollywood, whatever it is. So I got to learn in a lot of different ways, but I got to work with the talent one-on-one, which I absolutely loved. Then I became a bigger talent. So that's really how you get the respect as well. So I think Tony Khan, if he really brought everybody in and stopped being their friend and started being their boss and saying, hey guys, I want to introduce you to these 2 or 3 people, and they're going to be the head of creative. I'm going to be focusing on the business, and I'm going to be focusing over here. I think that'd be very well received. And I think the fan base, if he went out and said, listen, we're drawing a line in the sand. It's not about what they're doing, but guess what? Thank you for doing that, because then we're going to do this. Can you imagine if he was transparent about all of this?
Yeah, I don't know Tony. Everything I hear about Tony is positive, but Coach, there has to be some insecurity. You know what I mean? And you can't. I just don't know how you could be successful and insecure at the same time, because if you're insecure, that's going to have a bearing on who you allow in and who you don't allow in. I know when I almost went back to WWE in 2002, Triple H and Stephanie did everything in their power to keep me away. Why? Because they wanted the power, and Vince Russo was a threat. So you're going to damage your own power so you don't lose. You're going to damage the success of the company so you don't lose power. You got to get past that insecurity, man. You got to think you are the absolute best, and I'm going to bring in people that are going to make me stronger.
No doubt. And it's really, really hard to do, because what wrestlers think about is when they first started and they didn't know where their next check was going to come, or somebody taking their spot when they were out injured, or all of the negatives, instead of, if you're Triple H, you're one of the greatest of all time in the ring, one of the greatest workers, one of the greatest minds. So he's playing a different game than everybody else is. He's playing the game of, can I become Dana White and keep my spot here, as the top executives are never around. They're never around. All the TKO executives, they do all the interviews about money and about the shows and about ticket prices. But yet, Vince, I would love for them to go to the shows once a month and just hang out, see what it's like, understand the culture, understand what you do backstage throughout the day. And I think maybe you'd have a little more compassion for things that are going on, or not make Triple H feel like he has to be in every single video or every single show. Because did you notice who opened the NXT Homecoming show on Tuesday?
Yeah, well, I saw clips. Yeah, I saw. Yeah, I swear, I saw that clip, and Coach, my instinct is, guys, get over yourselves. Like really, just get over yourselves. Can we pass this along to the younger NXT generation? It's mind-boggling.
If I was a talent right now, and I showed up there every single week, and I'm fighting for a spot, and I'm fighting for my position, and if I'm a top guy and I say, man, I could have done that. He's on the top of the stage. I could have done that. And it's obviously very clear what they're trying to do is create a second Dana White. The difference is, this is not MMA. This is not UFC. This is not one show, maybe 3 a month. This is way different than that.
Yeah.
And to me, if you're not going to be wrestling, you should not have your face at the front of every single thing or your voice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Hey,
he's on everything.
Coach, I keep looking over here because I got breaking news.
All right, 30 seconds is all we have right now.
Real quick, Tony Khan is practicing his speech for the big event coming up. He's going to call it WrestleCon. Here's a speech he's practicing.
This is what we envisioned in January, okay?
Yes, sir.
It's happening here in September. Gonna go on forever.
There we go. He's practicing. Well, that was his dad. That was his dad. And they lost the next week. By the way, they lost
forever. Oh my gosh. All right. When we come back on the other side, this is going to be a ton of fun. There are a lot of things we love. We're passionate about this business, but there are little pet peeves that we would love to fix. What are yours? Put them into the chat. We'll tell you what ours are on the other side. We're only halfway home. It's Coach and Bro Show presented by Afterburn on Stadium and Bally Sports Live. All right, welcome back, everybody, you wrestling degenerates. We continue on here on our YouTube page. Vince, how many shows do you have to do this weekend, by the way?
This weekend?
Like, do you have to do Friday and then a recap of WrestlePalooza?
No, Coach. No. Coach, believe it or not, one thing I've learned, Coach, is Coach, I try not to work on weekends, man. I'm 100% in Monday through Friday. I try to lay back on Saturday and Sunday, man. I got to recharge at some point.
It's funny you say that because that's how I've laid out the schedule for Coaching Company is we only do weekend shows during the NFL season.
Yeah.
So we'll record our Saturday show on Friday, and then we play it on demand. And then Saturday, because I'm going to be up watching NFL anyway. But when it's not NFL season, it's Monday through Friday because I got high school kids. Yeah. My daughter just walked out to go to high school. Every time she walks out the door, I'm almost in tears because I know in 9 months she's going to college. I can't even stand the thought of that. Like she's the air that I breathe, and my son too. Yeah. So I never used to do that before, though.
Yeah.
As far as like saying weekends are mine.
Yep.
Weekends are mine. And also realizing, guess what? If we don't have Coaching Bro or Coaching Company or Off the Ropes on the weekend, Monday's still going to show up, isn't it?
Exactly.
Still going to show up.
Yes.
We do plenty. So we are going to do a watch along on Saturday night. And Big Tommy, by the way, just like you're a Giants fan, he is also a Giants fan.
Yeah.
A New York Giants fan.
Yeah.
And I don't even know, Vince, if he is able to speak right now after the loss that they had last week. So he plans to show up Saturday. But you know when Big Tommy gets upset, it's kind of hard to watch.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
A little hard to watch. Big Tommy, we're thinking about you, big dog.
Yes.
We're thinking about you, big
Love
dog.
Big Tommy. Yes.
All right. We're just back to go live. You guys have any questions, you can do it via super sticker. Do not forget, at the top of the hour, all those $10 or more from Monday and from today. First one gets on the Wheel of Doom. We sent out our first 2 merch items to winners. Those are on the way. Love it. We're back live in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Coach and Bro, presented by Afterburn, in theaters September 19th.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We are on the other side of the bottom of the hour. If you're watching us live, it is 11:32 in the East. It is 8:32 where I am sitting in the West. We are here twice a week, Monday on YouTube, Thursday on Stadium, Bally Sports Live, also YouTube. You can catch all of it on demand. Coming up in about 15 minutes, we're going to count down to WrestlePalooza and All Out. What are we most looking forward to seeing on Saturday afternoon and Saturday night? But Vince, the other day on Off the Ropes, my SiriusXM show I do every single weekday, 2 to 4 Eastern time, we did something that literally took off, and that was pet peeves today in the wrestling business. And as I was doing it, I thought, man, Vince Russo would have a lot of these. And so I thought it'd be cool right now because we know Triple H watches the show. We know that the powers that be watch this show. So maybe, whether it's in the chat or whether it's with us, we can give them something that they can try and fix. You know what I mean? And to me, I'll start with my number one pet peeve. So last week on AEW Dynamite, they had 4 matches in 2 hours. all of them, Vince, had smages at the end because they were all groups. So you'd have a one-on-one like MVP and Shelton Benjamin, and then, well, I'm going to keep my guys back, so you're going to keep your guys back. But then all the guys still came out anyway. I cannot stand these schmages at the end where there's no clean finishes, and it's just a mess every single segment. I'm tired of it. It's a pet peeve.
Yeah, I can totally understand that, especially when they're one right after the other, and it's you want to do one a show, that's great, but when it's one right after the other, it just means nothing. It is a big schmaz and it's a big mess.
It really, really is. All right, give me a pet peeve of yours. Right
and again, I just I'm going to make people understand. Here's my biggest pet peeve. As a writer and as a creator, the most important thing is you got to stay true to your characters. That means when you're writing a show and you're writing for a particular character, you become that character. What would this character do if this happened? Coach, I'm going to give you a perfect example real quick.
Okay.
The week prior, Sami Zayn is having a match with John Cena. Brock Lesnar comes out, F5 Sami Zayn, and kicks him out to the curb like he was Dwayne Gill. Okay? Now, keep in mind, we're pushing Sami Zayn. He's the U.S. champion. I think he's going to be a future champion. Okay? Yes. Following week, Brock Lesnar opens up the show. R-Truth comes out. Lesnar hits R-Truth with the F5 and walks away. Sammy's nowhere in sight. Then, immediately after that, we interview Sammy in the back. No mention of Brock Lesnar, what Brock Lesnar did to him last week, or nothing. What does that tell me as a viewer? Here's what it tells me as a viewer. Well, he's a mamby-pamby because obviously he's afraid of Brock Lesnar and he's not looking for retribution or a receipt. Coach, you can't do that to your baby faces. You can't do that to your you bury them.
You bury them, and also you only have certain times to include Brock Lesnar in what you're talking about. So if you're Sammy, I think one of the thoughts was to have him just obsessed with Brock Lesnar. And we know Brock's not going to show up every week, so that's why you have to do it on weeks where Brock is in the building to make it believable that Sammy really wants to get back at him, correct?
Coach, all you had to do was, this is how I would have done it. I would have opened up the show with Sammy sitting in the back, in the garage, waiting for Brock to enter with a pipe. Wow. With a pipe. And here's how you get out of it. Guess who shows up? Solo and his group. And they get heat on Sammy. So now you could take Sammy away from Brock, but he was still going to beat Brock's brains in with a pipe. But to not protect the guy at all, you're killing your baby face.
I think it leads into my second pet peeve, what you're talking about, and because I get a lot of feedback from fans, whether it's radio, here, social media, and they want better storylines. Mm-hmm. Fans want better storylines. That would be a great storyline. And then maybe you could build up Sami Zayn, because I think a lot of fans are like me. I don't look at Sami Zayn as a world heavyweight champion. Maybe U.S., okay. Maybe 24, I don't know. But I'm not putting him against Gunther. I'm not putting him in there against Cody and think that he's going to be able to get it done. Drew McIntyre, I don't see him on that level. So if you're going to get him there, give me some long-term storytelling. It's a pet peeve when we go from A to F without seeing what B, C, D, and E were. You know what I mean?
Coach, I hate to break the news to you, though. He already has a win over Gunther, Coach. He already has a win over Gunther, Sammy, yes.
How could I forget? How could I forget? Give me your second pet peeve, because I know you got several.
I've been saying this forever. The only people that talk like wrestlers are wrestlers. They're the only people that talk. Real people do not talk like wrestlers talk. Perfect example again. Let's look at that in-ring with CM Punk and AJ Lee and Seth and Becky. The only one talking like a human being is CM Punk. The other three are talking like wrestlers, and nobody talks like wrestlers but wrestlers.
I love that one. I really, really do. My third one is copycats. And I'm not talking about wrestlers. I'm talking about fans. Because right now, if you notice last week in Springfield, Massachusetts, they thought they were the crowd in Paris. And I understand you want to be involved, you want to sing the heels stuff, all that kind of stuff. But they made us sit through what, 35 minutes of the AJ Lee, CM Punk, Becky, because they couldn't keep talking because the crowd was so loud, which is
I
what
know.
you normally want, but not in a talking segment when I want to progress the storyline. And I guarantee you, Vince, because it started with the yeeting, that every crowd, they go, man, when they come here, I'm yeeting my ass off. When
Yeah.
they come here, screaming my ass off, because they see it on TV in these international shows, and now it's coming back here, and it can be very frustrating as a viewer to watch something get dragged out like that.
And Coach, I say that all the time. If you're there and you're a fan there and you're in the moment, great. If you're a television viewer at home, it's horrible television. It is horrible television. And I'm talking for casual fans now. It is horrible television to watch.
It really is. It's there. There's a lot of things that I think they need to fix. But when you have, I said it on the morning show, I can't believe how fast Thursdays come. Because when you get to the NFL season, man, I just got done talking about it on Monday night. Then Tuesday, we're already looking at it. Then these weeks go so fast. Well, for them, they go even faster.
Yeah.
Because the days keep coming, the shows
Yep.
keep coming. You
Yep.
got to have a show ready to go all the time, every third day.
Yeah.
That's hard to do, or
Yeah.
to even think about, okay, is this going to be our best show? Because I can only imagine the pressure you felt when you were writing what turned out to be the hottest show in the world.
Right. A lot of pressure. And that was, just 2 shows a week. And there was a lot of pressure.
No doubt.
Yeah.
I've got another pet peeve, Vince. And this is you and I, because we're very, I'll use the word polarizing. And if we say something, wrestling fans think it's the gospel. Well, Vince said, Coach said, and I put out on social media a couple weeks ago that Lyra has been overexposed on the mic and isn't on the same level that they're putting her in there. And I said, hey, you guys aren't going to see her a lot moving forward until she can get better on the mic. So, Vince, the next week, she has a very short skit. Then she has a match. So what do you think happened on my social media? Coach, this didn't age well. Coach, what were you saying? She had a match tonight on Raw. And I'm like, and that makes my point incorrect.
Right.
They had to use her because they needed a body for a match, not because they're pushing Lyra. I don't think they're, but whenever you say anything in this business, wrestling fans with 22 followers, man, they can't wait to bang on you on the X.
Absolutely. Coach, I got to give you one last one that
Give me another one.
That drives me crazy.
I love this so much.
Why is, and I'm going to say this for heels in general, but I am gonna pull out Becky Lynch.
Okay.
Becky Lynch is supposed to be a heel.
Yes.
Why is she trying to be a comedian? Like, come on, Becky, you're either Rodney Dangerfield or you're a heel. Pick one. She is trying so hard to pop the crowd with what she's saying and her facial expressions. You're supposed to be a heel. How am I supposed to hate you if you're trying to pop me? I don't understand this, Coach. Do you not know your role? You're supposed to be a heel. We're supposed to want to see AJ Lee kick your ass. And she's going out of her way to try to be cute and try to pop the crowd. Why?
Here's what I wanted from her is when AJ Lee came back and last week in that be as serious as she could be. This is my house. You've been gone for 10 years. You're not going to come back in here and have all these people cheering and calling your name and singing your song. It's not going to happen. You can skip your ass right on out of here. And if you don't do that and you show up on Saturday, guess what's going to happen? The vision's going to. And to me, if you sit there and you say, look me in the eye, like look me in the eye. I loved cutting heel promos. Like I was a great heel. I'll say that. Because you have to have a feel for it, right? And sometimes when you have so much power or everybody says, man, Becky, just go do you. maybe you don't have the instincts that everybody thinks that you have, because not everybody does.
Yeah. But that just kills it for me. Why are you trying to pop the crowd? That's not your job as a heel.
To make them boo, make them hate you. So eventually, and it may not be tomorrow, it may not be Saturday, but eventually the crowd then goes crazy for the babyface when they get over at the end of the storyline.
Because, Coach, I'll like Hall and Nash. Hall and Nash were cool. They couldn't help but be cool, but they weren't trying to pop the crowd. They were just cool and everybody wanted to be them. There's a big difference, man.
Big difference. And by the way, they're mamby-pambies. You can get your mamby-pamby t-shirt. Scan that QR code at the bottom of the screen. Go ahead and do it. All right, coming up on the other side, the countdown is flat out on. We are 48 hours away from the very first show on ESPN. I'm in my feels a little bit. Can't believe it's happening. Have they done enough? This is the Coach and Bro Show presented by Afterburn right here on Stadium Valley Sports Live. All right, you degenerates out there, we continue on here on our YouTube page. Ultimately, Vince, as this is our last show before they launch what is the biggest network deal that they've ever done, do you think ultimately this is going to be a success?
Gosh, man, when I'm looking at the partners, Coach, and you know better than I, when I am looking at the partners, how can this not be a success? I mean, you're talking about years and years and years of experience, not only in television, but being the leader in your field. And I'm talking both ESPN and the WWE. So I cannot imagine, with the experience and the expertise and the years, I can't imagine it not being a success. Now, I think they've made a mistake, Coach, by pushing the date up early, and I think we're seeing that. I think it's going to be difficult for people to find this show on Saturday. I really do. But over time, when I'm looking at these two conglomerates, how can it not be a success?
There's a lot of smart people. A lot of smart people that know how to do deals, that know how to make money, and right now, that's what they're leaning into. And until they can lean back into, Vince, we're sold out, or we've sold out, or the last 5 shows have sold out, I haven't heard that in a while. I talked to my connection inside the WWE, and they said several shows recently haven't sold out. And we're talking 1,000, 2,000 tickets sometimes that are left out on the street. That's a problem when we're not even into these deals at all yet. That's a problem.
And what they do a lot too, Coach, because somebody told me this from the inside, is if they have a building of 10,000 people, argument's sake, they will scale it to 8,000. And when they hit that 8,000, they'll call it a sellout, even though it's, and then if they hit the 8,000, then they may go to 9,000. So when they're talking about sellout, a lot of time they're not talking about the capacity of that building.
No doubt about it. We're back live on Stadium in just 5 seconds. Okay, welcome back, everybody. It's our go-home show. Saturday's a big day and night in the world of wrestling. AEW All Out is at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central. Make sure I get that right. From Toronto, which was the site of WrestleMania 18, which was Rock and Hogan. And this will be kind of the full circle moment for Edge and Christian taking on, I think, FTR is their matchup. But let's bring Vince back in now, because, Vince, as we look forward to this is a really big moment. And when I look at Edge and Christian and I look at the talent on the show, I like to look at it and I want my heart to be full. And that may sound mamby-pamby, call me whatever you want, but throwing the business out and just focusing on the shows and what some of these guys and girls have going on. This is a big time moment. And for John Cena, after 25 years, we're down to 4 or 5. And I found myself kind of doing a deep dive the other day, just kind of all of his different moments. And I'm like, wait, I was there for that. I was there for that. This is an emotional business. And I have a feeling that as we move along, Cena's going to start to get a little bit more emotional because his career is coming to an end, and that's a hard thing to deal with.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Coach. And I really hope Cena's true to his word and we don't see another comeback in 5 years or 10 years, because he still has something left in the tank. And I would love to see Cena go out at this point in his career. And I think the difference is going to be that he does have a movie career, so he's not going to have to come back to the wrestling business. But I really hope, this last run, it was planned out over a year. I really hope he sticks to that and can kind of go out with keeping that legacy intact.
I hope so too. And I hope it might be too late that they change their mind, but Raw's already booked on the 10th. I hate the fact that he's not going to be able to have his very last show in Boston, but that's just me. I'm sure he feels some kind of way. Real quick, we do have several questions in the chat asking about the show on Saturday night. Will it be on the ESPN app or just ESPN Plus? Guys, ESPN Plus only exists right now until the deals run out. Everything is going to morph into this ESPN app. Everything. So if you're watching football, whatever, all of this is going to be on the app eventually. I think, Vince, they're going to have some bumps in the road as they start to figure this thing out. But ultimately, I think by next Wrestlemania that people will do what they did with the network and what they did with Peacock and what they've done with Netflix. They'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. They'll pay for it because they don't want to miss these big events. And I think the reason they moved this one up is because John Cena is on the Mount Rushmore. And they're like, man, maybe we could start with this one.
Yeah.
The mistake I think they made, though, Vince, was this is football season. This is football season.
Coach, that's what I wanted to ask you, because that's not being brought up in the equation. I'm not a big college football guy. I know how huge college football is. Is that not a factor here? Are we assuming that wrestling fans don't watch college football?
We are. We're assuming that. But to me, to make this a success, they're going to have some fringe fans and turn them into wrestling fans, or put enough on this app that everybody feels like, well, I have this over here, so I'm going to get it. But Vince, college football, and ESPN just signed a deal with the SEC. It's the biggest conference in America. And I said last week, why don't they put this as very small pay-per-view? And I think eventually they'll do this. Like Georgia-Tennessee was an amazing game last Saturday afternoon. So if that game took place last Saturday, it would have been at the same time as All Out.
Right.
40-37, whatever the finals. It was an amazing game. To me, they're going to make little small pay-per-views where the big games you can get for like $2.99 or $3.99 within. There's going to be different tiers, just like Netflix does. But Vince, to not think that that's going to affect not even the buy rate, but the attention that it's going to get on Saturday. It's one thing to promote it during the week, but Vince, what happens Saturday when there's 75 college football games on ESPN, ESPN Plus, the ESPN app, all of that? What do you do?
Well, Coach, we have to go back to the beginning. The WWE pay-per-views used to be on Sunday nights. Mm-hmm. Everything is over and done with. Now it's there's college football Saturday nights. It's not just Saturday during the day. It's the entire day.
And the network that promotes
right.
that is crazy. ESPN and ABC.
Crazy.
Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit, they do the Saturday night game every single Saturday night, 7:30 start time, like clockwork. Yes, the same guy that called Cena. That's the same guy, but he's really good when he does college football. I went through a phase when I got to ESPN where I didn't watch a lot of wrestling, and that was the time period where they switched from Sundays to Saturdays. I still don't know why they did it. Do you?
Yeah, I have no idea, because Sunday nights, again, keep in mind, Sunday night football hasn't been around that long. But, that's why they own Sunday nights. There was nothing else. Now, again, like I said, there's going to be great college football games on Saturday night.
I think the reason they ultimately did it, as I think about it in real time, is NBC has Sunday Night Football. NBC owns Peacock. When they did the deal with Peacock, it was $200 million. They're like,
Yeah.
we're not going to put you head up against our Sunday Night Football. I'm assuming that is the reason. All right, we only have about 3 minutes left in the show, and don't forget, for those of you watching on YouTube or social media, we'll answer all of your questions at the top of the hour when we're off the air on Stadium. This weekend, who do you think, not what you're most looking forward to, who will have the biggest night coming out of either show? Because somebody's got to push their career forward. It can't always be about the money. Who's going to come out and have a really big night that we can look at for the next 3 months and go, yep, it started at WrestlePalooza or All Out?
I will tell you who I would love that to be. But again, the way he's been booked up until this point, I don't think it's going to happen. I would love to see that be Drew McIntyre, man. I mean, this guy has done everything they've told him to do. And as I said, Coach, they gave him the bulletproof. So no matter what they give him, he's going to get it over. You got to bring this guy to the top. You've got to bring this guy to the top at some point.
I understand why he's pissed off. I understand why he goes on social media and does what he did last week, telling the other talent, get your ass in the gym. Look like a WWE superstar. Those things aren't talked about enough.
Right.
Staying in shape, looking the part. If you're going to make $1 million plus, guess what, Vince? You got to work for it.
Yep.
And if you look at some of these wrestlers, all of them, very few look like a Drew McIntyre or a Roman Reigns. Now, Roman gets to stay home for 4 months to go to the gym every day. But what Drew McIntyre said is accurate, that if you want to share in the spoils, you got to look the part. And a lot of them don't right now. They don't.
Yeah, and he is one of the few that doesn't talk like a wrestler. You can relate to Drew when he talks. He talks real world. I wish this was his time now, Coach, but they got to show me, man.
I feel like they gave him this 5-year deal 2 years ago. Rock delivered like this thing in Vegas. They made this big deal. So he's under contract for at least 3 more years. I wonder if he has heat. I wonder where, because every program he's been in, he rarely wins. CM Punk beat him 3 or 4 times last year.
Yeah.
Like every single time CM Punk won. And that matters.
I think him, and on the women's side, Chelsea, I think they are cursed with that bulletproof that no matter how many times we beat them, they're going to go out there and keep themselves over.
Man, she's another one right now. It would be really hard for me to not be frustrated if my name was Chelsea Green. Yeah. All right, Vince, I got 30 seconds for you. Tell me how you're spending this weekend.
I am spending this weekend in the Purple Mountain Majesty, Coach. That's where I'm going. I am headed to the mountains in September, the mountain air. There's not a better place to be.
Oh, man, I'm so jealous of you. I'll be sitting right here Saturday night, watch along WrestlePalooza, premium only, but looking forward to it nonetheless. Vince, another good show. Producer man, give me that one shot. It's now time for all of you wrestling fans to go out there into the world, to enjoy it. Enjoy Saturday. Try to take all the BS and the noise out of there and just enjoy wrestling and try to enjoy your favorite wrestlers, because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. We're back on YouTube on Monday to recap everything that happens at All Out and also WrestlePalooza. For Vince Russo from russosbrand.com, producer man, Dirt Sheet Dan, I am the coach, presented by Afterburn. Coach and bro. We'll catch you later. All right, you degenerates. I think a lot of people, normally we have a lot of super stickers, and it's fine. But I think they're saying that super sticker or pay for WrestlePalooza. Super sticker or pay for All Out. So I don't think we have any super stickers right now. We did the one. So we're not going to stay longer than we have to. So Vince, if producer man, let's pull up the Wheel of Doom.
Let's do it.
Wheel of Doom, and then we'll get the hell. I'm not going to do the Charleston. That was 25 years ago. All right, there's the Wheel of Doom. What this is for anybody on Mondays and Thursdays that has a super sticker of $10 or more. You will be put on the Wheel of Doom. We'll spin it right here on the show, and we will send you a Mamby-Pamby t-shirt. Yes. And there will be an email at the bottom of the screen. Email producer man, and we'll get you taken care of. We just sent the first 2 out yesterday. So the merch store, we have everything set up. We're ready to go. So, Vince, you ready to see who wins this week? Wheel of Doom?
Spin the wheel, make the deal. Let's do it.
Oh, this is very exciting.
Yes.
I can't wait to get the first picture of a fan in the Mamby Pamby t-shirt.
Yes.
Hitesh, let's go. All
Very
right.
nice. Very
All
nice.
right. Congratulations to Hitesh. There is the email. Give producer man an email, and he'll get you all set up with your Mamby Pamby t-shirt. By the way, Vince, we just came out today with an I Bet Wrestling shirt and sweatshirt as well. Because a lot of people bet on wrestling. There's a lot of odds for this. It's crazy. Could you ever have imagined?
No, gosh, I would have made a ton of money if there was betting on wrestling when I was in the business. Are you kidding me?
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
I always thought that. So there is the t-shirt.
I like that. That's nice looking, man.
Pretty cool, right? I think we have 3 different designs, something like that. Our new social media person, she's amazing.
Yeah,
absolutely amazing.
Nice.
So
yes.
It's amazing. Every week, Vince, we take a little step forward, just a little bit step forward, because it doesn't happen overnight. How long have you been doing your russosbrand.com?
Oh, 10 years, man.
10 years.
10 years. Yeah.
Real quick, I know you're changing some of your stuff. Do you want to tell the audience?
Yeah, guys, please. I put my money where my mouth is, man. I'm offering you a free week to try us out for absolutely free. It costs you nothing. Go to patreon.com/Russo TWC. Get a free week of the brand.
It's great stuff. You don't want to miss any of the stuff over there at russosbrand.com. All right, I got to get ready for Off the Ropes. Guess who I'm interviewing today, Mr. Russo?
Let's hear it, man.
Eric Bischoff.
Oh, boy.
Will be on the show today.
Good for you.
So he's one of my favorites that I've ever worked with. So it'll be interesting to hear where he's at right now. The whole new wrestling show that they have on Fox Nation, I think is what it is. Something like that. And then tomorrow we have Kurt Angle on the show.
Now that's one of my favorite people in the world.
I know you absolutely love him. All right, that's going to do it for now.
We got a quick super sticker real quick, I think.
No, well, that's it's not at the level that we read it, but we can do
we put it up on the line.
We put it up on the screen, yeah.
Cool.
Thank you, a wrestling historian.
Yes.
I started it. There's no doubt about it. They don't want to give me the credit, but not only Vince did I go there in 2008, I fought them for 2 years. Then in 2014, when Vince McMahon called me at 3:00 in the morning with Kevin Dunn on the line, practically begging me, Coach, you got to get us on ESPN. You got to get us on ESPN. And I did. And then look what happens now. 10 years later, they come back for $1.6 billion.
There you go.
How much do you think I got for making that happen?
6 cents.
That'd be overpayment. That would be overpayment. All right, we're going to get the hell out of here. Thank you guys so much for supporting us and supporting what we do and for supporting what Vince does as well. We're just getting started. We're only a year into this thing, and we're really starting to cook with some hot grease, thanks to all of you. So for Vince, for Producer Man, Dirt Sheet Dan, I'm the coach. We'll see you next time, Monday, 5 p.m. Eastern time, right here on the Coach and Bro Show.